Welcome to Racing Girls Rock podcast, sponsored by the Women's Motorsports Network. And now, here's a message from one of our sponsors. GoFastGirls.com supports female athletes across the globe. Are you a driven girl fueled by ambition? Check out Go Fast Girls. Join the movement to support female racers. Get 30% off selected apparel when you use the code MOTOR30. Check out GoFastGirls.com. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with Racing Girls Rock podcast, sponsored by the Women's Motorsports Network and the International Women's Motorsports Association. And Delainie Miller is my guest today. And Delainie's a young gal that loves motorsports and has been involved for a while. So we're going to get to know a little bit more about her today. So Delainie, welcome to the show. And why don't we start by you just telling us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 14 years old. I live in Robertson, Alabama. I actually do have a nickname. They call me Felony Delainie. I have two dogs. Actually have one dog. I have a German Shepherd. Very energetic. I love hunting. I love being outdoors, being with friends and family. I just, I love the nature. I love being outdoors.
Okay.
I love racing, obviously.
Obviously, that's why we're talking today. So, well, let's just go from there. So, how did you get started being involved in motorsports, and what caused you to fall in love with it?
My dad used to street race. My stepdad's been big into motorcycles, and ever since I saw that, I was like, oh, I love them. I love the way they look. They sound fun. And I told my parents, I was like, I want to do MX. It's the first thing that crossed my mind. It's the first thing that came up, and they were like, you're not doing that. Like, you're absolutely not doing that. And so, I found flat track, and I was like, there's this girl, Shayna Texture, like she does it. And, we followed her for a long time. And I was like, she's really cool. I like her. She races. I was like, she races with the boys. So it, and they took me out to the track for the first time. It was Pensacola Dirt Track. I fell in love with it that first day, and they were like, well, we'll start you off on a Yamaha TTR and we'll go from there. And ever since, I've fallen in love. I've loved it.
And how old were you then? I missed that part.
I was 12 years old when I first started.
And how old are you now?
I'm 14.
14. So you've been doing this a couple years then, for sure. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you have to travel very much for flat track racing?
We do travel pretty often. We're taking a break now just because, I recently broke my leg and I've been having surgeries and I'm still recovering, but we do travel a lot.
So did you break your leg racing or some other way?
No, we actually went out to practice, and it was an open practice. We had go-karts and bikes, and it was go-karts turn. So everybody kind of got on their little pit bike, and we were playing around in the middle on a little pit bike course. And I actually came over a jump, went down, planted my foot wrong, and went down, broke it. So
yeah, so that's not good. But how much longer before you'll be able to race then?
Last time we talked to him, it was probably he said 4 weeks and I can start walking. So he doesn't know the exact date. I do have to have another surgery, get plates and everything like that removed, and 2.5, 3 months, and then I'll be fully racing. But we do know that when, I can start walking and riding again, we're going to take a while off to, practice as much as we can.
Right. Good idea. Because you think you're old at 14, but you've got a long time ahead of you to race. And so you got to make sure that leg is healthy and everything before you put too much pressure on it. So that's a good plan for sure.
Yeah.
So,
we decided we're not doing anything.
No, that's a good plan. So Delainie, what is your favorite thing? Now I've been to flat track races in Michigan, but it's been a long time ago. But I do, I know enough about it to know that it's totally different than motorcycle racing on like the Honda Superbikes or whatever. Flat track is a totally different animal. So what is it about motorcycles and flat track that you like?
Honestly, I just love the excitement of it, feeling, getting on the bike and feeling free. It's just something that you can, sit down and feel like there's no chaos, or your head's kind of just clear and you're just there. It's just, it feels really nice to feel like there's nothing else there but you and your bike.
Yeah. Are there other girls that race against you, or are you pretty much the only one?
There's a lot of females out there, they make it up to the 65s, and some of them quit. There's a lot of them that do race 450s and 250s, but I just haven't been able to race against any of them yet because I'm not on a 450 or anything.
Right.
But I do have a little cousin. She follows in my footsteps very well, and she got on a little 50. She's on that now, so she's getting into it too. But
Yeah.
I'm not the only one out there, so.
Yeah. And, think about that. At 14 years old, you're a role model for somebody else. And
Oh
so
yeah, for sure.
she's looking up to you. She's watching everything you do, which is probably a little scary, but it probably keeps you on your toes too, because you've got somebody looking and following and watching what you're doing. And so that kind of keeps you on track too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because she's always keeping up with me, and she's like, "Oh, are you doing this? You're doing this?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm doing that."
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. So who helps you with your racing? I know you can't do it by yourself.
My stepdad helps me a lot, with my bikes in general. Robbie Bobby, one of my coaches, he, helps me with anything that has to do with my bikes. If I need something, he's there to get it like that. But him and my stepdad, they help me a lot. One of my track mates, his dad, Ronnie Smith, he helps with anything that we need. It's just kind of like, if you're there, you help. It's just like everybody.
Right. Because it's a family, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so when you go to different flat tracks, like how far do you have to travel? Do you have one close by and then you travel, or are they all pretty much things that you have to travel to?
We have one close by, and that's our home track. That's probably about 45 minutes to an hour away. But other than that, it's hours of driving.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Because like there's quite a Michigan's so blessed. We have so many tracks of all kinds there, but I only know one place where they flat track race, unless I'm just missing out. And that's in Lansing. The Lansing area, I think, is where I went to see it a few years ago. So, if you were in Michigan and you were doing that kind of racing, you'd have to travel, I think, quite a ways to do that as well. So I just wondered, the travel gets long and expensive and everything too. So take a break, get yourself healed, and then you'll be ready to go back, right?
Yeah.
Right. So your favorite thing is being free on the motorcycle, and I know that feeling. My husband and I are motorcycle riders, so we enjoy that too. But when you're out on the track, you've got all these other people out there racing. So is it mostly, it's obviously mostly guys, but is it younger guys or older guys that are doing flat track racing?
Where I'm at right now, I race with a lot of the younger kids. I know there is people that get up in age that do race, a little bit older. But right now I race with 13, 12, 14 years old.
Okay. Yeah. So that's good, because it's basically kids with the same level of experience pretty much that you have. You're not out there racing old geezers that have been doing it forever.
No.
Yeah, for sure. So Delainie, do you work on the bike at all? Are you trying to learn how to do that too? Or is your dad and your stepdad pretty much the ones doing it?
I do, from time to time I will go out there and work on things by myself. I am learning a lot still. So, when we're out there, they'll be like, do this, this, and this. And I'll be like, okay. And then I'll go back and I'll do it.
Uh-huh.
It's still a learning process for me because I don't fully understand it all, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. And you're only 14. You've got plenty of time to learn all that. And repetition, over and over, once you start to do some of that, you're going to learn more all the time as you grow. And then you're going to look back and be like, gosh, I do this now without thinking, and I used to struggle with it. So that's okay. So what is your bike number, and what kind of bike is it? What color is it? All those good details.
My number is 17. I'm on a KTM 250 right now. I do have an 85 Honda, which we are moving off of that soon. Just we're playing around on it currently. My KTM is orange. We stuck with the basic colors, orange, blue, and white. So we stuck with
Okay.
simple colors for that one. And then the Honda, we stuck with the same colors for that,
Yeah.
just the basic Honda colors.
Yeah. And that just makes it a lot easier all around, especially when you're learning and that. So down the road, I know you're still young, but down the road, the next, let's say 5 years, you get out of high school. And do you have any goals for what you want to do when you get out of high school? And then what about racing? Do you want to keep it up? What do you think?
I do want to go pro in racing. That's something I do want to do in the next couple years, around 17. So, so I'm not going too early. So I do want to try and follow that goal and that dream. But if that doesn't end up working out, I do want to become a veteran. That's something that I've always wanted to do. So if, flat track and going pro does not work out, I do want to become a veteran in the future.
Okay. All right.
Or
So what
veterinarian, my bad.
veterinarian? Yeah, I knew what you meant. So you must love animals.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a lot of school, but it's a very worthwhile occupation, and you don't see as many veterinarians anymore as you used to, I don't think. So good for you. That's a good goal to have for sure. So your favorite things, I got that part, but what do you think if somebody came up to you, or came up to you and your mom or your dad, and they said, hey, my little girl's interested in doing what Delainie's doing, what would you say to them?
I tell them it's great that she's interested into it. I think they should look into it. If she really likes it, maybe get her a bike, let her try it out. It's something that's fun. Joining the sport. There's dangers and there's things that can happen, but you got to take the risk.
Yeah.
It's just something that you have to take. It's gonna happen. It doesn't matter who you are, what bike you're like. It's gonna happen. But I'd let her try it out. I'd
Yeah.
let her get a bike, try it out.
Well, and when you say, things can happen, good grief, things can happen driving down the road or riding your
Doing
bicycle,
anything.
or I mean, there's no guarantees in life. So, and at least when you're riding the motorcycle, you do have protection on and helmet and all that. So you are somewhat safer than just, out on the street for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, being on the street in a motorcycle nowadays is scary at times. So yeah, for sure. So Delainie, what have I not asked you about that you'd like to share about yourself or your racing or your family, anything at all?
I don't have a lot, to say for that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
My family and I are very split up, but I do have a good connection with my cousins. We do talk a lot, so
Yeah.
that's very nice that I have a good bond there with the family.
That's
I don't have
good.
a lot to say to that one.
Okay, that's all right. So are you on social media? Do you use social media to like let people know where you're racing and all those different kinds of things? How do you use social media? You're the age where, you're probably on it all the time more than your mom wants you to be. So what do you use it for?
I'm on it for, I talk to friends, everything like that. We do use Instagram and Facebook, to promote racing. So we do have that. But other than that, it's really just, racing, and I kind of keep it simple as that. And then anything else, it's just, friends, family.
Yeah. So how can I follow, if somebody wants to follow you on Facebook or Instagram, how do we follow you?
The race page is Delainie_Miller 17. And the Facebook is Delainie Miller 17.
Okay, easy enough, right?
Kind of simple as that.
Hey, you know what? It's so much easier than a bunch of names and numbers and things that you have to try to remember. If you can remember Delainie Miller, we can probably find you on social
Yeah.
media for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, Delainie, I've enjoyed talking to you today, and we've we've been connected a little bit before this, but it's nice to have you on the podcast and learn a little bit more about what you're doing and everything. So do you have anything else you would like to share before we go?
No, I think I'm set if you are.
Okay, I'm set. Well, thank you for being on today, and I'm going to keep following you. I've been following you, so I'm going to keep following you and keep up with you when you get back to racing.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Ileana Stock Car Radio is one of our many partners. With the 2022 recording season upon us, there are a lot of ways you can keep track of Ileana Stock Car Radio. They are on YouTube, Podbean, and iTunes, or through your favorite podcast app on your smartphone or tablet. Just search Ileana Stock Car Radio. If you're interested in contacting them, you can find them at ileanastockcarradio@gmail.com. Again, that's ileanastockcarradio@gmail.com. ILLIANA stockcarradio@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening to the Racing Girls Rock podcast, brought to you by the Women's Motorsports Network.